Axis brought up something because I think you were talking about liquidity getting pulled, the AMM bot scooping up all that stuff, and then he was like, well, there's a block of liquidity, maybe some positions that have been there a long time. I don't think you mentioned who it was exactly. First thing I thought was Godwell, but it could be any benevolent actor, I would hope, that may leave liquidity there. So that got me thinking, wow, so does that mean since there'll be liquidity there, the price may not drop drastically, and if it does, they would actually be positions for you to buy up more likely if there's liquidity there at a certain price. Is that an opportunity to pick up cheap EHEX at that time?
It is. There is a potential giant catch a falling knife moment where if you set maybe some really, really low. Now that you mention it, I should probably do this myself. I almost didn't even think about this. EHEX is going to dump, but I do think there's a good chance it over dumps or it wicks down heavily due to the culmination of a couple of things. One, liquidity providers pulling all their liquidity out. Two, people treating and not understanding, but treating this as a buy the rumor, sell the news event. I'm done with my EHEX. It's all about PHEX now. And that price could tip, it could go like as low as 0.00001 for like a brief second. Then it might settle back down at like 0.001 or something, or 0.005, half a penny or something like that. But if you manage to catch a falling knife at 0.00001, right? What is that? You can make a 100x and like, and of course you can't necessarily put a whole bunch of money in because of liquidity problems. Like it depends on how much liquidity would you want to defend at that price. And it's like, you're also taking the gamble that what if your order execution on matcha doesn't work out, or 1 inch? Have you ever had issues with limit orders not hitting?
I have had issues on matcha. But I started doing more, I'm getting more into LP, and LP can function effectively as a limit order. So, just have to wait longer for your ranges to get hit. I've been doing that just to kind of, because if you can wait, you can do stuff like that.
That is fun as well. That's very interesting. And you can do some interesting stuff on even like the perpetuals, for example, with, liquidity providing. But going back to what point I just had, liquidity providing as a single-sided liquidity providing as a method to sell crypto is a very active approach, and I fear that in the post PulseChain mainnet EHEX dump that we're talking about, that we're predicting this falling knife scenario, you need to be there to remove the liquidity after it gets dumped into your bag. So if people sell all that HEX into your USDC order, you then need to remove it. And because this knife can only last, it might only last a couple of minutes or even seconds, right? So I don't think that's the move, just because you might need to be really quick and you might not physically be able to, like, by the time you refresh the screen, it could already be back above your single-sided liquidity position. That makes sense.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, I think too, I keep saying that I think PHEX, because of just the psychological factor of it is free money, it is the airdrop, it is something that is not valued because it's free. And I mean, a lot of people's mind, a lot of people, if they're based, they're like, oh, PHEX future, stuff like that. But a lot of people are going to be like, free money, I'm going to trade it for Pulse, or free money, I'm going to go dump it because it went up 2x or something like that. So yeah. I'm just looking for ways when PulseChain launches, and it affects if it affects price, HEX's price and volatility and LP the ways we can imagine it would there be opportunities to pick up cheap EHEX in different ways than are currently being popularized? And is PHEX actually going to be that airdrop, or is it going to be that new money printer that people are going to treat it like? What do you see the differences in launch just based on what you think between the two?
Pulse and PulseX, or PHEX and EHEX?
Or PX and EX,
yeah. People might look at PHEX and EHEX as like PulseChain HEX is the real HEX, EHEX is not real, but same code, same exact code. And once these are liquidity bonded over on the PulseChain side, if the liquidity pool between EHEX and PHEX is high enough, they'll just be locked in tandem with each other. My theory from day one has never really changed. I think what it's going to look like is, and this is a guess that I could be wrong on, right? I really am admitting right now that I do not know, but what I've always thought since kind of the original first couple months of me thinking about this, like 2 years ago, was that EHEX will drop in price. It will stabilize at a lower price, but that price is not going to be zero. So whether that's like, it drops to a penny and it kind of settles at a penny, and then EHEX, let's say PHEX goes all the way back to like, the price of that hex was at before the fork. So let's say PHEX catches up to, what does hex say, 9 cents, and then EHEX drops to 1 cent. Well, you still got 10 cents for doing nothing, right? You still got basically one extra coin, for just sitting on your ass. You got a copy of your coins. Even so, the sum of the two parts is greater than, the price of the hex prior to the fork. And once liquidity is bonded, then it makes it too easy to, they're both priced in each other, and it makes it easy to go up and down together. So, let's say PHEX blasts up to 20 cents. It's going to drag EHEX up along with it for the ride. So we might see EHEX at if that was a 1-to-9 ratio, right? EHEX 1 penny, PHEX is 9 pennies. Well, if it doubled, right? If PHEX went up to 18 cents, then EHEX could go up to 2 cents. And so you just have this nice free ride copy that, you could sell it if you want to, or you could just treat it like, continue to treat it like your regular staking ladder, which is probably what I'll do, right?
So you think regardless, the two halves will equal a bigger price than what it was before, whether it's 90-10 or 80-100?
I would hope so. There is a chance that, they could both just crash and like nobody cares about PHEX anymore and it never gets back up to its old glory days. But with all the influx of new capital coming in, all the millions of USDC sitting on the sidelines waiting to FOMO into this ecosystem, some of that money is going to trickle in to the PulseChain ecosystem regardless. And if economic conditions are more favorable by then, if we got money printer go burr again, then a lot of that money, it trickles down from the Bitcoins and Ethereums to the newer stuff like PulseChain. And what's the top altcoin that people are going to see on PulseChain? It's going to be HEX and PulseX, right? These are going to be and then Hedron and all that stuff. They're going to be confronted with HEX right away. It's a shiny pink and yellow logo. A lot of noobs in the system and a lot of smarter people alike might choose to say, oh, this coin's been around a while, right? This HEX, it's been around for 3 years. It's never been hacked. Some people called it a scam, but now that I'm in the ecosystem already, maybe I should just get a little bag of HEX too. That's going to be a lot of people's thought process of like, why not? This is kind of the premier store of value coin. It seems to be. A lot of people seem to like it. They might not fully understand it either. They might just say, oh, a lot of people seem to like this. So, that might happen. And then the gates are open.